So you've landed your first client. Congratulations. Now, how do you get paid? Well, there are a lot of payment options out there, and in today's video, I want to discuss my favorite. What are the best ways to get paid by your clients right now? Stick around, this is going to be a good one.
This video is brought to you by Email 10K. Learn how to book meetings with billion-dollar brands and take your company to the next level at email10k.com.
Before I jump into the tools, I want to give you an idea of some payment terms, best practices. Here is mentally how to get paid, not just the exact tool recommendations. Tip number one, always ask for 40% or more upfront. You want to make sure that the clients have the money to pay you, and so you're not working for free and invoicing in like 30 days or things like that. Typically, if it's a monthly service, I would ask for an entire month's payment upfront before I even began. And I'll stick it at that. That's the advice. I wouldn't give any caveats on that. If someone wants to pay you half a month upfront, find some new clients. Like, come on. Although my brother Terrence is having a lot of success with weekly payments and then upselling them, I would not recommend that. So always ask for 40% of a huge contract. Let's say you closed a $50,000 deal. Then you want to make sure you get 40% upfront or even more, depending on how much you have to put out to get the team to work. So if you have a 20% profit margin, which I don't recommend, you would want to ask for 80% upfront. That way, even if the client doesn't pay that last invoice, you're at break even and you haven't lost any money. This is also why I don't recommend having a 20% profit margin and why I instead recommend having at least a 50% margin even on services. So if you're charging a client $5,000, you need to fulfill that for $2,500. Otherwise, you risk losing money on every deal when a client doesn't pay. Tip number three is don't start the work until you get upfront payment in your account. I can't tell you how many people make this mistake. They think a client's going to close, so they put in all of this work up front, and then the client doesn't close. And now you're sitting on like a fully designed website or hundreds of tweets if you're a ghostwriter. Like you've done all this work and the client doesn't close, and now you're going to have to find another way to use that. What you do instead is, as that client is waiting to close, you work on the next client or work on your current clients. That way you're not doing any free work ever. Now, my only caveat on that is sometimes there is free work required to do a proposal. So for instance, right now, me and Div are working on a project, and in order to close the deal, one, we already had verbal green. We have an assumptive close. He said he's down to do it. But the actual payment is going to come after the plan, the proposal's put together. So in that case, during the proposal, during the research process, if you really trust the client, you can do the free work. But even with this deal we're working right now, I would say 50-50, we even get paid on it. What you should do instead is give some bullet points, but don't start work until that payment hits your bank account. Tip number four, take online payments instead of checks. If a client tries to send you a check, typically there's some nefarious reason why. Maybe they don't have cash in their bank and they want to kill some time, or any number of reasons. So what I'll typically do is, worst case, if a client needs us to take a paper check, I'll have them mail the check, sure, but they're also going to take pictures of the front and back of the check, and we're going to try to deposit it immediately. And we're not going to start working until that check clears in the bank. That'll avoid any of the nonsense. But you really want to do digital payments. Like worst case, you can do ACH transfers or wire transfers into your bank account. There's no reason to use paper checks in this year. There's no reason, unless the client is up to some sneaky stuff. So I wouldn't even touch checks unless you absolutely have to. Now let's talk about 5 tools that you can use to accept online payments. Here are my 5 favorites. Before we jump into this list, make sure that you like this video and subscribe down below in order to encourage this type of content, and leave a comment on this video to help the YouTube algorithm. Just comment what your favorite payment processor is. All right, now let's go into the list. Here are a few options for how to accept online payments. Number 1 is ChargeBee. ChargeBee is good for recurring and SaaS payments. This is what we use at X27 when it comes time to invoice our recurring monthly clients. Number 2 is Stripe. Stripe actually works with ChargeBee, but Stripe is good for taking payments. It processes, it's got good dashboard, good analytics. I like Stripe a lot. Number 3 is PayPal. PayPal, very similarly to Stripe, allows you to take payments, but a lot of people don't like PayPal because they're a lot more aggressive about shutting down your account for no reason. Like there are a ton of people online that have said that their PayPal accounts have just been shut down with like 50 grand in them, and then they just aren't told about it or they don't know where the money went. So watch out for PayPal. I personally haven't had any issues like that, but that is something that's been reported online. Fourth one is Wise. It used to be called TransferWise. It's a cheaper alternative to PayPal, lower fees, and it's good. You know, it's got good UI, payments come in, like it's fine. They're all the same. All these tools are the same, honestly. And then number 5 is Payoneer. Payoneer is what we use for international payments. If we're paying people in India, we'll get them hooked up to Payoneer. This is good for international freelancers because they only charge a 2% fee. Although they do require documentation, they also create a checking account in the US or the UK for you. Here's a question for you. What is your preferred payment method? And how much do you charge for your service? Let me know down below. If you want to have access to all of our courses and become part of this awesome community that we've built, including weekly calls with me, then go ahead and sign up down below at email10k.com, and I'll see you inside. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to smash that like button to encourage this type of content on YouTube. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.